Happy Friday, Falcons fans. Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Moose. We've got some final news for you and your Dirty Birds coming out of the NFL Combine, which, believe it or not, is still ongoing, but it does kind of look like things are starting to simmer down at least a little bit as it pertains to the rest of the NFL news. So we're going to break down in this episode exactly what you need to know and what we're hearing from the NFL Combine. Before we do that, though, it is our final day to push our sub battle, and we have beat Saints now. But I am not satisfied. I want to stomp on the necks of the New Orleans Saints. So do me a favor, if you love the nonstop content, if you love nonstop Dirty Birds action, and if you want more updates, more videos, you know what to do. Hit that big red sub button. It's free. All right, let's start with the first bit of news. Kevin Stefanski joined Pardon My Take, the largest sports podcast in the United States for Barstool Sports. And you know, look, every single time one of the coaches jumps on one of these shows, everybody's like, ooh, I wonder what they're going to say. It's usually just more relaxed feel. There's not a lot of information that is shared on air or during the recordings. So it's just more chopping it up with the guys like Big Cat and the boys from Barstool. He did, though, reveal, Kevin Stefanski, that is, that he has seen the brand new Atlanta Falcons uniforms, and he and Matt Ryan have kind of kept it under lock and key with the Falcons equipment manager. But at least from what I'm seeing on X and on Instagram and on the internet, there have been some leaks when it comes to the Falcons' new uniforms. So we're going to go over them very briefly. And Producer Parker, if you want to rotate through these three while we're talking about it, we can so totally do that. Nice little look at the black uni, red uni, which looks pretty cool. I like the white pants. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think these are actually pretty hard. There's a couple of alternative helmets as well. It's a red alternative helmet, but if you just look at the rotating cast of what we're going to be seeing in 2026 when it comes to our new uniform scheme, I personally think that these are a nice little upgrade to the last ones that we have. And my personal favorite being the white unis. I think those are going to hit hard. I love a good crisp white uni, and believe it or not, I've also been a fan and kind of one that's been raising the hand for gray alternative uniforms. I think more teams should implement gray, not just in the pants, but in the jersey as well. All right, moving on to the second bit of news. The Falcons are scouting a center. This is more pragmatic when it comes to the on-the-field football stuff. So, according to all the reports that I'm seeing, there is one specific center that the Falcons have their eye on, and that is Jake Slaughter from the University of Florida. That is such a cool name, by the way. Jake Slaughter for a center. Come on, it just sounds like an offensive lineman. Actually, it sounds like a defensive lineman, but the next best thing would be offensive line. This is a trench guy for sure. The Athletic did a really good job of letting us know exactly where the Falcons were in this process, saying this: the Falcons scouts and executives have spent a lot of time evaluating Florida center Jake Slaughter in the pre-draft process, according to a league source. Slaughter is 6'4", 303 pounds, the highest ranked center in the class of the number 83 prospect, according to the Athletic's Dane Brugler, who does the beast every single year. Texas A&M's Terry Zuhn III at 6'6", 319 is the only other center in Brugler's top 100, and Ryan Neuzil, our current center, a former UDFA who has been with the Falcons for all 4 years of his pro career, started all 17 games last year, has a total of 29 starts 29 games in his last 3 seasons with the Falcons. I personally ranked my top 5 centers. I don't have Slaughter as high as the Athletic does. I do think he is a top 5 center in this draft. I have him at number 4. Connor Lew from Auburn. Logan Jones from Iowa is a really, really good player. Same with Sam Hecht from Kansas State. But let's talk about Slaughter, because we're not here to break down all the nuances of all the centers in the 26 Combine. But he is a really good player. I won't deny that. Slaughter is a hell of a center. Pass blocking grade of 84, run blocking grade of 80, total offensive grade of 79. He did play 748 snaps this last year. From everything that I've seen, he's going to be a plug-and-play player at the NFL level. So whatever team drafts him will most likely make him their starting center, which is an interesting tidbit because right now our starting center is Ryan Neuzil. And I don't think Neuzil played all that bad last year. I don't think he was anything spectacular. I don't think he was special, but he wasn't the worst player on that offensive line, and that goes for pretty much everybody on the Falcons' offensive line. Nobody was outstanding, but nobody was so god-awful that they don't deserve to be back. I mean, Elijah Wilkinson's a third-string right tackle, and he had the worst year out of any of these offensive linemen for the Falcons. But let's take a look at Neuzil's productivity last year. He was much better in the run blocking game than he was in the pass blocking game. I will give all credence to that. He's a much better run blocker than he is a pass blocker. So obviously in pass pro, you would probably be getting a significant upgrade in Slaughter. He did have 4 penalties, so there were a couple of pre-snap penalties that he was responsible for. I think he had 1 holding call. I'd have to go back and look at the numbers. The overall takeaway here from the Falcons offensive line, though, is it wasn't the best and it wasn't the worst. It was just kind of middle of the pack. The one thing I did notice is that it kind of jumped at the very beginning of the year. It was really, really good at the beginning. And then it just slowly started to decline. And it never got that spike downwards, that steep drop off. It was more so just a steady decline throughout the year. And maybe that had something to do with morale. Obviously, losing a bunch of close games. We were 1-5 in one-score games, I believe, last year. It's certainly not the best unit in the NFL, but it is far from their biggest weakness. So any sort of upgrade to center or to right tackle, will be getting Caleb McGarry back, so that should help. I'm not worried that much about the Falcons' offensive line. But I'll ask you this question because it is a point of contention here for many fans. Should Atlanta draft an offensive lineman in the 2026 draft? I have no problem drafting an offensive lineman. It just depends on where you're going to move him. And if you are going to draft an offensive lineman, they better start, considering you only have 5 picks. So you want these guys to kind of nudge their way in unless you decide to trade down, and all signs indicate that Ian Cunningham might do that. So I digress, though. Coming up next, we've got the final news from the NFL Combine. This is the juicy stuff. I'm hoping that you stuck around for as long as you did, because this is really interesting stuff. Before we do that, though, I'm sure you've noticed my brand new threads from Rag and Bone. I have to tell you guys, this is the most comfortable shirt that I have worn in quite some time. And Rag and Bone has amazing deals. So let's talk about them for a second. If you go to rag-bone.com and use code CHAT, you get 20% off your order. These clothes are comfortable. They're classy. They're super high quality as well. I've gotten a couple of compliments already on the shirt that I'm rocking. People actually think that I have style now. The clothes are built to last, and I've got myself the classic flame tee on right now. Paired it with their Fit 3 athletic jeans that are honestly so comfortable, you're going to forget you're wearing jeans. And now I've got this nice stylish outfit I can combo on date night. My wife is very impressed. I look sharp, I look premium, and I'm telling you right now, you can tell they're meant to be long-term wardrobe staples. It is time to upgrade your denim with Rag & Bone. So for a limited time, our listeners get 20% off their entire order with code CHAT at ragandbone.com. That's 20% off at rag-bone.com with promo code CHAT. When they ask where you heard about them, please support our show and let them know that Moose from Falcons Today sent you. Let's get into the juicy stuff. Tyler Allgeier is as good as gone. I know. Stop the presses. Don't get outraged. This is part of the landscape of free agency. It happens all the time. And here's why I say that. Report came out this morning. Tyler Allgeier is seeking a contract in the neighborhood of 3 years, $22 million. That is starting caliber money, my friends. That is RB1 money. And if you don't believe me, here is exactly from The Athletic, who has been doing a really good job of actually covering all the news coming out of the Combine right now. So brace yourselves. It might be time to say goodbye to Tyler Allgeier. I take no pleasure in saying that, but if you're remembering what this deal kind of looks like recently, we have a very comparable contract. Former Denver Bronco and now Dallas Cowboy Javonte Williams signed a 3-year, $24 million contract just a couple of days ago. Actually, I think it was last week that he signed this deal. So if Allgeier's looking for 3 years, $22 million, you're looking in the ballpark of right around $8 million. Now, outside the lines, did a really good job of ranking all the free agent running backs this year. This is actually a list that I very highly agree with. I would flip Allgeier and Kenneth Gainwell. I think Allgeier is behind J.K. Dobbins in this, but, tomato, tomato, potato, potato. But this is a really, really good indicator of what most NFL GMs, I believe, look at in this free agency class. Now, obviously, Javonte Williams signed, and he was number 3. I don't know that Tyler Allgeier is going to get 3 years, $22 million, but I can pretty much guarantee you he's going to get $6 million a year. So whether that's a 2-year, $12 million, whether that's a 3-year, $18 million or $19 million, maybe they get up to 20 with incentives. I'm pretty sure you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to get about $6 million a year. So like I told you, it might be time to say goodbye to Tyler Allgeier because he's going to get RB1 money. And again, look, I love Allgeier. I want the Falcons to re-sign him, but all signs are pointing towards he's exploring the market, and he's not going to be back, especially when you've got to pay Bijan Robinson coming up really, really soon. Last bit of news here. This is actually the good news right here. Jeremy Bernard had a ton of praise for Michael Penix Jr., current Falcons QB1. If you are unfamiliar with Jeremy Bernard, he's a wide receiver out of the University of Alabama. He claimed that Michael Penix Jr. is the best quarterback he's ever played for. That's unbelievable to say out loud. That is a crazy stat and kind of a shot at Ty Simpson. That's all I'm saying. Producer Parker on the ones and twos. Roll the clip.
Mike Penix is probably the best QB I've played with. Nothing against Ty or J Mill. He just had a lot more experience than they did, and just the IQ that he has of the game, man. He's really smart. And then he wants to get to know like what we're thinking and everything like that. He teaches you a lot, and then just as a guy, man, he's chill. He cares for his teammates. He wants to pour into you. He wants to hang out with you off the field and do different activities and whatnot.
High praise coming from a very, very good wide receiver. There's no doubt in my mind that when they played together at the University of Washington, he saw the very best of Michael Penix Jr. So I can't deny what he's saying. That's his truth. He sees it as so fit. But just because a team, by the way, doesn't actually meet with a player, he has not met with the Falcons, does not mean that they aren't interested in him. I mean, I can give you plenty of reasons why that would be true. There are so many teams that the head coaches didn't even show up to the Combine with. The Niners, Sean McVay didn't show up with the Rams, and Liam Cohen did not show up with Jacksonville Jaguars, and they released a statement saying everything that we need to see and evaluate is already on tape. So as much as I disagree with that sentiment and that overall approach when it comes to the NFL Combine, I can certainly tell you that the formal meetings are not everything. They are something. They're not everything. And look, Jeremy Bernard would be an excellent addition. He's already got that history with Michael Penix Jr. And adding some familiarity, if Michael Penix is the guy, if Matt Ryan, Ian Cunningham, Stefanski, if they decide to roll with Jeremy Bernard, you're getting somebody that, in my opinion, can be an immediate force in this Falcons wide receiver room. He can pretty much line up anywhere. He's a versatile player. You can line him up in the slot. You can line him up out wide if you wanted to, outside of Drake London. I mean, there's plenty of areas that you can use Jeremy Bernard, and I've been on him for quite some time. I think he's really good. I think he would be an excellent addition to the Falcons in the second round. Now, some mocks have him going late first. Some have him going in the second. Some have him falling to the third. So I can probably split the difference and say he'll end up going in the second. And remember, the Falcons don't have a first-round pick this year, so that second-round pick is going to be very, very important to do our homework on, especially with the front office and Matty Ice and Ian Cunningham. That's all I got for you on this episode. A reminder to stomp Aints now. Stomp them into the floor. Step on those necks. You want the constant updates. You got to hit that subscribe button because we'll give you non-stop coverage from the Combine. Free agency, which actually begins 10 days from now. It's unreal. I'm so excited. So make sure that you join the growing family of Falcons Today fans and hit that subscribe button. That's all I got for you on today's episode. A reminder that we will be back a little bit later on today or tomorrow, depending on how our schedule lines up here, with more news and rumors surrounding your Dirty Birds. As always, rise up and be cool.